In February of 1954, a few weeks before my grandfather turned 12, his family's little farm had been experiencing some attacks on their animals, mainly the chickens. And the weeks before, they had lost 7 or 8 chickens from their flock of 30 or so. They had a small property, an acre or two in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, specifically near a place called Hall Mountain. One night, during a fairly heavy snowstorm, my grandfather's family was awoken to the sounds of chickens screaming and flocking around their coop, some 70 or so yards away from the house. My grandfather and his dad, Paul, immediately jumped into their boots and coats and ran outside to confront what they believed would be some coyotes. As they ran outside the back door, my great-grandfather with his rifle and my grandfather with his pellet gun both stopped dead in their tracks, as they saw what my grandfather described as the nastiest, most foul-looking human-type creature you could possibly imagine. A light on in the barn illuminated the creature, and my grandfather said that it was almost bare naked, save for what looked like a pelt draped around its shoulders, and it had a dead chicken in its mouth. His dad snapped out of shock, fired a few rounds at it, and he nicked it once on the upper thigh. It ran across a field, initially on 2 legs, before it dropped down to all 4s and disappeared into the woods. The next morning, he and his family basically decided that they needed to follow the blood trail that was left behind by whatever creature they saw last night. So by 12:30 that next day, my grandfather, his father, and his uncle Peter, and another cousin named Samuel were all walking northwest into the woods following that bloody trail left behind the previous night. And on the other side of the stream, tucked under a massive cliff overhang, was a cave entrance. My grandfather said it was about 20 feet across, maybe 6.5 feet tall at its tallest, and the bloody drag marks and the multiple tracks led right across the stream and into the cave. My great-grandfather said that he was going to go into the cave, and if he didn't shout back that he was okay in 5 minutes, everyone needed to run back home and call the police. And then he walked over the river and stood at the cave entrance before shining a light bulb into it and slowly walking in. My grandfather said he waited about 4 minutes before they heard his dad's voice, and it seemed like an eternity. But they saw him come out, and my grandfather said that he was pale as a ghost, and he hardly spoke on the entire hike back. They asked him to tell them what he saw, but he wouldn't budge, and he said that they would talk later. And they all returned to my grandfather's house around 3 o'clock in the afternoon.